We're at Littlebranch Farm, where my friend Kelly Maxwell has a great selection of slabs for woodworkers. He builds his own wonderful furniture, but he can sell them to you too. Let's go inside and see what he has for us today. Well, hello, Kelly.
Hey, Chuck, how you doing today?
Great. It's nice to see you, and I'm excited to be here.
Good to have you.
Look at this.
Yeah, that's a Claro walnut dining room table there. The natural live edge.
It is just beautiful. The live edge and the big slab of wood. Now, slabs have been around
Forever,
a long
man.
time.
They go back to even ancient Greece. They've had slab furniture was actually in some of the homes they found in ancient Greece, remnants of it.
And in the last century, George Nakashima kind of brought it to the forefront as he would work with a slab like this by hand to release its soul, I guess.
Correct. George did a great job in actually bringing it out to the forefront in mid-century design.
Well, it's just beautiful, and of course the live edge kind of connects you with nature.
Yeah, I mean, and live edge is, you know, a lot of people think live edge is the bark side of the tree, and actually it's just the outside edge without the bark on. Really, you don't want to leave the bark on. It introduces a whole other element of issues, bugs, and everything else.
Well, it's not only for big tables like this beauty, it's for
Custom beds here, yeah. I mean, we got a big burl slab here. It's a redwood burl. It's got a lot of lace and ornate figurement in it. And this came out of a root system of a tree that was cut down pre-1960. We can't cut down the old growth trees, but the root systems were left behind on the forest floor. And this is one of them.
This is a similar kind of slab, is that right?
Yeah, this is a buckeye burl out of a root of a buckeye. They have a lot of ornate issues. You have to watch bugs. These can be heavily infested with bugs, so you want to treat that.
And this shows these beautiful burl nodules.
Yeah, it's burl nodules, the burl tits on the outside, and then the ornate pattern comes off from what's on the outside is manifest on the inside of the slab. And the cool part about the root is you end up with the bark also, and you'll end up with rocks and anything else inside the burl.
Anything that the tree grew up around.
Correct. Here's a big leaf maple burl. We actually mounted this one onto a western cedar root to make it as a coffee table. Love the pattern in this. It actually went through a little bit of aging. It's got a little bit of spalting pattern in it. You're showing the unique burl and stuff. Some bark intrusions into it because it was out of a unique burl and the way it grew into each other.
That's wonderful. Now, over here is an example of a more contemporary way, more of an industrial look.
Yeah, this is actually forged out by my blacksmith. He's welded, cut the steel, pounded it, put it through his forge to actually create that natural patina that's on the outside of it. And this has got a Claro walnut slab on top of it with the live edge.
And over here you can see that is that filled?
Yeah, I like to leave my stuff a little more natural looking, and I might pour a little bit of a resin down into it. We're still doing a couple of things with this here, but we fill a little bit of resin down in here, but the checks, that's all part of it. Yeah, here's some example of some of the resin work that I've done on a bar top here, where I've filled in some knots. When it's actually sanded out, here's one that I've already finished predominantly. It just looks like it's a clean, blacked out knot.
Oh yeah.
But it's solid. You don't have to worry about where the knots want to. When it's drying, the drying process, a lot of times the knots will crinkle up. Sometimes they'll pop out completely. Other problems, this is the way to solve that. This is a live edge that I carved here, so a man-made live edge right here. And then it transitions across to the natural live edge. I decided that I didn't really want to stain this one out. I wanted to leave it more. I did some low light stains into my deep crevices. But then when I came out here, where I sanded, it took off some of the highlights, so the color tone blends really well across it. This is actually a big slab hanging vanity. With a vessel sink set on top of it, we'll have chains that'll hook up here that are forged out by my blacksmith that will be a hanging vanity. So it's a 6-inch thick slab.
Well, Kelly, how do you know that a slab is for you? If a woodworker goes out to look at one, what do they look for?
What do you look for? Number one, you look for a dry slab. Where was it stored at? Was it stored outside, just out in somebody's barn, or out, not even in a barn, just sitting out in the field, not covered up, out in the weather and everything else? It's gonna have some issues with wood. Do you see bug damage in it? Do you see other things like that in it? How was it treated and how was it cared for? Those are the biggest things. I buy the vast majority of my wood wet. I buy it when it was first milled. I sit on it a long time and I let it air dry. That way I can watch it through the whole history of the slab's life after it left being part of the tree. You want your slab to be at least 10% moisture content, if possible. Does it have to be kiln dried? No. Air dried wood is just as good, if not better, than
Color's
kiln dried.
better.
Color's better. The elasticity of the wood is better. It's easier to work with. It's not going to splinter out on you. I just worked some kiln dried slabs for a client just recently, and every time I cut it, the wood was just splintering and popping everywhere because it was so stiff. The wood had no energy to it anymore. It had lost that. Things that I look for, let's step over here and look at a couple of these little burls and kind of talk about tabletops and slabs. All right, this here is a curly redwood. You can see some of the grain pattern. What I look for in this stuff is I'm looking at shape. Is it going to be sellable? Or can I shape it to a size? This one here has live edge around here, but we did a rough shape on it with the chainsaw early on this outside edge that'll allow for it during its drying period to gain a little bit of patina, and then we can finish shaping it when it comes time to put it into a final slab.
That's interesting.
This slab here is still wet. I know this slab was cut about 6 months ago. It's got at least 2 more years, 2.5 years before it's going to be dry and ready to use. This slab right here has live edge all the way around it. This is the tan oak burl. You can see there's some bug damage in this. We know that there's bugs in this one here. The bark was left on it a long time.
So how do you treat it if there's...
We use a borax. Out on the West Coast in our mill out there, we use a total natural stuff that's actually been working quite well to kill the bugs inside the burl. That way you don't have to stick it into a kiln and mess up your color tones, mess up your elasticity of the wood and your stability of the wood. You know, just letting it long and slow and watching it.
Well, that's wonderful. Can you show us your process for actually working with the wood and working with the edge?
Sure. I'll show you some of the stuff we work with the edge. What you want to do is you want to let the machine do the work. You're following the natural contours, or I'm looking at what I'm seeing over here and I'm creating an edge that's similar. I still got a lot of work to do on this to get it to where I would want it to be, but I can make something that's very similar to the rest of the edge of the tree. The only thing I wish I had was just a 1/4 inch more depth. But
and then the whole piece would fall away.
Whole piece would fall away. But I can come back now with my jigsaw and trim that up, and then I can surface it down and do any final cuts that I would need to do.
Kelly, this has been a joy.
It's been a pleasure having you here, Chuck.